guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do another one of my end of year kind of videos. We're going to talk about my cart of shame. So I do have this cart. I have stuff that's below that's all notebook kind of related. But the top shelf is all books that I have started at some point in the last few years and have not finished. So I have a tendency as a mood reader to start books and then abandon them for various reasons. Most of the time it's not always the book's fault. Sometimes it's just circumstances, but sometimes the book just isn't calling to me, so I will set it down thinking I will come back to it. I do have a tendency in June and December to take a look at the books that I have abandoned over the last 6 months and over the year and to see what I can finish, which is what I'm in the process of doing right now, is finishing up books that I started earlier in the year. So these are all the books though that have been abandoned that I didn't get back to at the end of the year that I read or tried to read them. So I don't know what year a lot of these are. Some of these are from this year that I have put aside on purpose because I wasn't ready to read them, or I just need to focus a different time to do it. So I'm going to go through these. There's quite a bit. I didn't count them, but it's all these and then a couple that are sitting in front of me. I do want to point out, I do have 2 rereads that I paused. There's actually a third, but I put it back on the shelf because I'm not going to finish that one. But I did start both of these rereads this year. This one is Big Bad Wolf by Solinka Snyder. So this one is, the reason I wanted to reread this is because I read it when it first came out, and it's a urban fantasy or a paranormal romance kind of thing. It has action and it's like kind of a different world with shifters. It's our world, but like something happened and the shifters came out kind of thing. It's a fun book. I just didn't feel like reading it when I pulled it out. I didn't only get like a little bit into it, but on a reread, I mean, I have read this before. I wanted to read because there's a second book and I want to finish the series off. So this is I will come back to this again. I need to finish rereading this to finish, then I can read the book that I haven't read and then finish the series off. So there's that. I'm also came back and I'm trying to reread his name went right out of my head, Jack West Jr. series by Matthew Riley. I had read the first 3 books, which is this is book 3, and I haven't finished the reread. I read the book 6 earlier this year, and then I started this one right away, and then I'd read too many in a row. So I do want to come back and finish my reread of this. So it's technically here on the Cart of Shame because these are both rereads, but I'm reading them to continue the series. So I still need to finish rereading that to finish and then read one more book. And then this one I need to read, and I have to read 4 more books. But I'm going to work on that. So those are ones I'd like to get to. Okay, so those are the only rereads that I'm keeping on my list onto the cart going into the new year. Because again, I forgot to mention this. Yes, Cooper. Is that I'm going to try to pull at least 1 book off the cart every month in my TBR to try to get through these to lower my number of stuff left on my cart of shame. Because I need to get through these or make decisions on them or get them out the door, so I need to do something like that. So let's start with some classics, because these ones, I do have a lot of them, and for different reasons. Les Miserables, I did start this year, and for March of the Mammoth, I got 165 pages in, and it was just for me, it was so hard to continue this, and I had marked it out how much I was going to read for a certain section, because I was going to join another read along in the summer, and I didn't do that. This book is one of those ones, I think, because it's a classic, that I need to take my time with it and actually focus on it. And I didn't, even in March of the Mammoth, I was trying to read other things at the same time as this. And I think what I just need to do is just make this my primary read I'm having at the time, and just focus on it and not get myself distracted by other books. So I'm going to try again to read this, but at a time where I have a couple weeks where this is what I'm going to read. And we'll see how it goes. I do want to come back and finish that classic. That is one of my bucket list ones. It's one of those books I've always wanted to read, and I haven't. I still have Elizabeth Gaskell's Gothic Tales. I got partway through this one as well. A couple of years ago, it was the the group read for Victober. And again, Elizabeth Gaskell is one of those authors I want to try her books, even though I have abandoned one of them for sure. But I do want to get through her Gothic Tales. I just haven't got through the rest of it. I do have this on audio, so I can pull it up. I was hoping to get to this at Victober, and I just didn't. So maybe this year I can find a time where I want to read just some of the stories and get through them. Again, I made it 100 pages in, and it's like just over 330. So I do want to try to get to that one as well. Let's see. I know I have more. Here. This is the one that I'm kind of shameful about. Is I picked up Ivanho by Sir Walter Scott on audio during, was it last year? It was last year or the year before, I can't remember, Jane Austen July, because he was writing during that period. I don't think this was written during her lifetime, this one. I can't remember now. I'd have to go back and look. I'm pretty sure it happened afterwards. But anyway, point is I wanted to read, I've never read Sir Walter Scott, so I wanted to read Ivanho, and this has been on my shelf for quite a long time. So I read a good chunk of it one day at work, 170 pages. I didn't read, I listened at work, sorry. And then I got distracted with other stuff in that July. I don't remember what happened, and I never came back to it. So now I'm gonna have to restart it because I don't remember what happened, because I read that all in one day, and that was just, I don't remember. So this is one I definitely would like to get to this year for sure. Like, of these, there's going to be some of these that are more priorities to try to get through. This is one of them because I feel like I just abandoned it when I shouldn't have. I was enjoying it. I just didn't come back to it after that day. So this one I definitely would like to try to get to. Let's see here. I know there's another. Okay, here's my other, here's another shameful classic of one I am definitely going to do this year. I say this every year, but this is actually, I'm actually going to put this is the one that will be on my January TBR, because I just have to get to it. I know I have so many books that I want to read in January, but I am going to do this because I want to do this. And that is the Vicom de Breon by Alexander Dumas. This is book 3 in the D'Artagnan romances series, so following the Three Musketeers and 20 years after this one comes next, and I just have not finished this one. I got almost 200 pages in. I got, let's see here, I think I got just a little bit less than that before. I think the first time I read it, I got to like 150, and then I put it down, and then I came back to it months later and I read a little bit more. And then again, I enjoy it when I do this. I love these characters. Follow D'Artagnan and Athos and Porthos and Aramis and some of the other characters that we follow in here. This was just, again, this is many years after the Three Musketeers, and another time period after 20 years after. I just need to read this book because I want to finish the D'Artagnan romances. I'm not saying I'm going to finish the whole series this year, but I want to get through this book. And I'd like to read the other ones too, but I'm not going to force that. That's not my goal. My goal is to finish this book. So that's why this one is going to be another priority, but this one's like highest priority on this cart, because this one is my most shameful that I have let this sit and not come back and finished it. So anyway, so that will probably be on the January TBR. Another classic I'd like to get to is The Beetle by Richard Marsh. This is one I started Victober, I think 2 years ago. I got 122 pages in. I just, I think I'd been reading too much Victorian literature at the time, and this one kind of fell by the wayside. This is a weird one with kind of Egyptian themes, and with this thing that turns into a beetle and goes after people. I don't remember, but I want to read that because it is a classic that I think would be really interesting to know what happens. Let's see here. I think I had one more somewhere. Hold on. Oh, I have two. Okay. 2 more classics. Oliver Twist, which was on my Victober TBR this year to try to come back to and finish, but I did not get to it. A couple years ago got to 124 pages, and it's just under 500 pages. So I didn't get super far. So this one might be when I restart. But again, I want to continue with my Charles Dickens, and I feel that I keep putting this off, and I really just want to I want to get through Oliver Twist before I continue to do some of the bigger ones. And again, I want to try to read ones I haven't got to yet, and I've not got to Oliver Twist. And then the last of the classics is The Mysteries of Udolpho by Anne Radcliffe. This one was this year. I tried to read for Jane Austen July, and I just didn't give it enough time. I only got 54 pages in, and then I was just like, there's so many other things I want to read that I put it aside. So this is another one I want to come back to and read. I just need to set aside time that I'm going to be able to read this really big classic. It's just about 600, little over 600 pages, and pretty dense. The writing is really small. Anyway, but again, I've read most of Anne Radcliffe except for this one and one other. So I'm almost done with all of the books that she published that were finished. So I really would like to get to this one because this is the major one, and I put it off because it is the one everybody talks about, and I've read all the other ones, and I just need to get to this one. So I would really like to focus on that one month and just get that one done. So a lot of these are classics that are on this. Now that kind of shows something. I don't know. I've read a lot of classics, but I also typically abandon a lot of classics. So we need to work on that. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So 7 of those were classics. Anyway, so let's talk about some. Let's see here. I have a couple urban fantasy that are. Before I switch over, what is that? Oh, that's that one. Okay, so I just have 2. One of them is one I've been trying to get to the end of this year, but I don't think I'm going to make it. So I'm going to put it hopefully into January, but we'll see. Is Small Miracles by Olivia Atwater. This one I read about 100 pages and just kind of was like, I don't know about this one. I think I just was not in the mood for this. It's like good and bad angels are kind of trying to make someone's like kind of sin. Like she's the fallen angel of petty temptations. And I think she's trying to get something to kind of live it up a little bit more. She's kind of the woman's kind of straight laced. And I think there's kind of a romance in here in some point, but I think it's mostly about, what is good and bad and that kind of stuff. But I need to get back to that one. So that one's one I'd like to get to sooner because I didn't get to the end of this year. And then this is one I abandoned last year's, Swashbucklers by Dan Hanks. And this is a Christmas one. I didn't get to it this Christmas. I just had too many stuff going on. So maybe next December, this is the one I want to pick up. I want to try this again. I just feel like it just didn't hit right for me at the time I read it. And I think it could be really fun. And it has to do with some friends who, they're older now, but when they were kids, they defeated this evil. And now that they're older and they have kids, the evil comes back, and they have kind of forgotten everything that happened, except for one of the guys has always remembered, and everybody else kind of forgot. And it's like all this weird stuff. There's some weird talking fox, and it was interesting, but it just didn't hit at the time. And I think it just sounds so fascinating. Again, it's a Christmas novel, so I think I might try it again next December. We'll see. Or if not before that. But this is one I do want to try to. I just want to give it time and then restart it and come back to it. I only got 70 pages in, so I didn't get super far. And if things where action was happening, I just don't know why I set it down for sure. I just think it wasn't hitting at the time. So there's that one. And then I have one kind of thriller action one, Bullet Train by Kotaro Isaka, I think is how it goes. And this is the one that was based off that movie that came out. I mean, there was a movie that was the Japanese version, and then there was the American version or whatever. This one's translated. I know I didn't tell all the translations on here, but this one, oh, if I can find the page. No, I can't find the page. It won't go to that page. By Sam Melissa. So I think this one is just one I have to try it one more time. I didn't, as I said, I took it on vacation and I got 40 pages, and it wasn't the kind of book. I thought it would be a great book to read on the plane, but it didn't click for me. So I do want to try this again and at least give it one more shot. I don't know if it's a book for me because, again, some translated books just don't work. But this one seemed kind of actiony. I thought it would be good, but I don't know. Maybe just they're all bad characters and I don't like it. So we'll see how that goes. I do have one historical Gothic, and that is The Hacienda by Isabella Cañas. I only read I didn't get very far. Oh, and I got 18 pages, but I got a little farther the last time. I did try this twice so far. I can't remember. I think I got like 40 pages in. And when I first got it last year, and then I tried it a little bit this year, and I restarted it, and I just was like, no, I'm not in the mood for this. So again, this is a historical Gothic about a woman who marries somebody she doesn't know all that well and goes to his place, and that there's some creepy stuff going on there. I want to be in the mood for this one, and I wasn't in the mood the couple times I picked it up. So this is one I do want to try again this next year. Hopefully that'll get on my list at one point. I just didn't give it enough of a try, or enough of my attention, I guess. And I have 2 nonfiction books. One of them is Romantic Outlaws, The Extraordinary Lives of Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Shelley by Charlotte Gordon. This one I also had on audio. I got to 110, so I got through the first 9 chapters. So I really was enjoying this, and I do want to come back to this. The problem is that this is one of the oldest ones on this cart. This is one I abandoned in 2020. I was listening to this just after the whole pandemic thing started. I was at home by myself, and I just didn't want to listen to this. Some of this stuff in here is sad of their lives, and it just didn't work out as an audiobook for me. There was a couple that I abandoned in 2020. Most of them I've either put back on my shelf to start another time, or there's another book I probably should pull that's on that I put back on my shelf that's like that. But this one I definitely been wanting to come back to. Hopefully this year I can get back to it. I almost put it on my list of books that I wanted to for author biographies. This one was really close. I almost did this too, so this might be a bonus if I get through the other books that I have on my list for that. But that is one I still want to get to, about Mary Shelley and her mother, and just learn more about that. And I might have to restart that one too, since it has been 4 years, almost. And then I have one science fiction. Oh no, I do have one more. Where's my other? Wait, I just had the other nonfiction. Hold on. Sorry, I forgot about it. Crow Country by Mark Crocker. I bought several of these ones that came out in this edition. I don't know, they're really pretty. Anyway, but this one, vintage classics, I guess. But this one has to do with crows and his, I think it's talking about the roosting near his home. I got pretty far into it for Nonfiction November one year. But I just got bored. Like, I was just bored of the way he was writing about stuff. And I liked a lot of the nature ones I got in this series, but in some other nature nonfiction. But this one was harder for me to get through. So this one I still want to give another chance and see if I can do the last half and finish it out. But I still have that one to read. And then I also have one autobiography, which is The Sun in the Morning by MMK, My Early Years in India and England. So this is about the author, MMK, who wrote The Far Pavilions, which I haven't read, but I read this as a buddy read a couple of years ago, and I got tired of it, and I don't know how the rest of the group did. I don't know if anybody finished it. There's 3 books in her autobiography. There's interesting things about it, but she's looking back at India in the early 19th century. So, that's not right, the 20th century. So early 1900s. And she was born, I don't know if she was born there, now I can't remember, but she definitely grew up there, and and it's talking about her and her family and how they moved around in different places in India. It was really fascinating, but just so slow. It's very detail oriented. So this is another one where I don't want to restart, but I might try to finish this one out. I don't know if I'll ever get to the other 2 volumes. I didn't buy the other 2. I didn't, because they were pretty expensive. But I might want to try to finish this out, or I'm going to decide to get rid of this and just move on and actually just try her novel instead. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Okay. And then I have one science fiction, which is Abidon Gate by James S.A. Corey. So this is book 3 in the Expand series. This is where I've stalled out. I do want to get back to this. I read 66 pages, but the audiobook that I got from the library went back, and so I have not asked for it again. I just haven't been in the mood for a lot of sci-fi. So maybe this year I'll get back to the Expanse series. I would like to get through the whole thing now that it's done. And I just haven't got past this one. So hopefully that one will happen at one of the months. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And then the last ones are all fantasy. So I have The Killing Moon by N.K. Jemisin. I tried to read this a couple of years ago, and I got 96 pages in. Again, it's like 400 pages. Again, this is a duology, and it's in a place where, I think it's like desert or sand or whatever. And then there's something to do with dreams. Someone goes into dreams and is killing people or doing something. And so there's kind of this mystery, but there's also a lot of fantasy political stuff going on. And it was very slow. So, again, this is one of the one of N.K. Jemisin's older novels, but I do own both books. So I do want to give it one more shot to see if I can get through this one and then read the second book so I can finish the duology, but we will see. So that's one of them. Another one that's a first book in a duology is The Coward by Stephen Arend. This one I got only 82 pages, and I liked how this was looking at a person who, in this fantasy world, he went on this quest, and he was the only one who came back and survived. And so he didn't tell exactly what all happened, or he doesn't want to talk about it anymore. Because he's the only one who survived and all these other people died, and it's kind of lucky that he even lived. And then years later, the bad thing that they were supposed to have taken care of comes back, and he is called to go and fight again. And that's pretty much where the coward parts comes in, because he doesn't want to go again, because it was very traumatizing the first time around. So my problem with this one was there's a big other side, another country that is very religious, and right off I hated that character that we were following in that world. So I don't know, it was just not connecting to me, so I kind of put it down because I didn't want to deal with that. This one's only about 400 pages, little over 400 pages as well. And again, it's only a duology, so if I can get myself through this and I want to read the second one, then I can. But I said I want to give it one more shot because I did only try it the one time, and then I set it down and didn't come back to it. So I didn't mean to abandon it. Again, it's one of those things. Another one that I did that too was The Black Coast by Mike Brooks. This is the first book in the God King Chronicles, and I own all three of these. So this one I definitely want to try again. I read 100 pages, but I just wasn't into epic fantasy at the time, and I think I was trying to force it because I was just about to get the last of the books. The third book was coming out, so now I have them all on my shelf. I don't know if you can see, they're over there. Anyway, point is that I need to give this another shot. I want to try to, as I said, I wanted to read this. This is, again, a fantasy novel, so, which I can't. I know there's about a place where they usually get attacked by the raiders, and then the raiders are coming over, but now something has happened to their home, and they're coming as refugees, and so it's that whole part of people having to deal with each other. And then the last book on my card of shame is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I did start this earlier in 2013. This is a book I am putting on my January TBR because I did not get to it this month, and I was really hoping I would get to it. If not, this will be like the book I have going over the end of the year, but we'll, from this year to the next. But I really want to read the Stormlight Archive this year because the 5th book in the first arc is coming out. And I did enjoy the first 100 pages. I picked it up at the wrong time where I didn't have the mental capacity to be reading this. So I want to come back. This is only the first half of it. The second half I have all, this is up on the shelf. So I do want to read the full series, the archive. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to make it all the way through to the end of the year to be ready for book 5. But I want to make it through Way of Kings, at least one of the other ones if I can. Words of Radiance. But we'll see. This one's on my cart though, but this is another one that I'm potentially going to pick up fairly soon. So of all those books, you're going to have to let me know which ones you think for sure I need to try to prioritize to make a decision on this year. Again, the ones I'm going to focus on probably in January are The Way of Kings, And, oop, I'm not going to find this book, am I? No, I'm not going to, no. I'm not going to be able to find it. Anyway, the point is I'm going to try to focus on, Small Miracles, maybe. And then, Vicom de Breon. So these ones for sure I'm going to put on my possibilities for January. But of all of these other ones, are there anything you think I definitely need to pick up sooner rather than later? Ones I definitely need to give it another chance and get back into. So let me know. Did I hit this? I don't know. It just went sideways. Sorry. Anyway, if it's been like that the whole time, I apologize. Sorry, my voice is going. So anyway, let me know if there's any of these you think I need to get to definitely focus on and read. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.